In the world of cinema, sequels are often seen as a surefire way to cash in on the success of a previous film. However, not all sequels are created equal. Some continue the story with flair, while others feel forced and unnecessary. Yet, despite their lack of merit, some sequels have managed to shatter box office records. Here we explore 10 movie sequels that, despite their questionable existence, made a significant impact at the box office. The Hangover Part 2. The original The Hangover became a cultural phenomenon, praised for its fresh take on the bachelor party genre. However, its sequel, The Hangover Part 2, felt like a rehash of the original, with the same formula of chaos and misadventure. Critics panned it for lacking originality, yet audiences flocked to theaters, leading to a staggering box office gross of over $586 million worldwide. Sometimes it seems audiences will overlook creativity for familiarity. Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Michael Bay's Transformers series is notorious for its over-the-top action and mindless spectacle. The second installment, Revenge of the Fallen, was widely criticized for its convoluted plot and excessive length. Despite its negative reception, the film raked in over $836 million globally, making it one of the highest-grossing films of its year. The combination of blockbuster effects and a loyal fan base proved that even a poorly received sequel could dominate the box office. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. After the success of Jurassic World, expectations were high for its sequel. Fallen Kingdom, unfortunately, the film was criticized for its lackluster plot and reliance on nostalgia rather than innovation. The film's storyline felt disjointed, and many fans were left disappointed. Regardless, Fallen Kingdom grossed over $1.3 billion worldwide, showcasing that even when a sequel falls short, it can still attract massive audiences thanks to the power of brand recognition. Star Wars Episode 1: The Phantom Menace. The Star Wars franchise has a rich history, but the prequel series, particularly The Phantom Menace, faced significant backlash from fans and critics alike. Many were disappointed by its reliance on CGI and convoluted political plotlines, yet it opened to a staggering $924 million at the box office, largely driven by the enduring popularity of the original trilogy. This sequel demonstrates how nostalgia can propel even the most contentious films to financial success. Finding Dory. Finding Nemo is beloved for its heartwarming story and vibrant animation, so when Pixar announced a sequel, expectations were high. However, Finding Dory was criticized for recycling themes and lacking the emotional depth of its predecessor. Even so, it managed to gross over $1 billion at the box office, proving that Pixar's reputation could overshadow narrative shortcomings. The Matrix Revolutions. The original Matrix changed the landscape of science fiction cinema, but its sequels, particularly Revolutions, struggled to capture the same magic. Critics lambasted it for its convoluted plot and lack of coherence. Despite this, The Matrix Revolutions grossed over $427 million globally. The allure of the series and its groundbreaking visual effects kept audiences coming back, even when the storytelling faltered. The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. The first two Mummy films were relatively successful, but the third installment, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, was met with a lukewarm reception. Critics pointed to its lack of charm and an over-reliance on CGI. Nevertheless, it grossed over $400 million worldwide, proving that sometimes brand loyalty and star power can outweigh critical disapproval. Ice Age Collision Course. The Ice Age franchise has always been a family-friendly staple, but by the time Collision Course rolled around, audiences felt fatigue from the series. formulaic humor, and recycled plots. Despite this, the film grossed over $400 million, a testament to the franchise's ability to draw families to theaters regardless of the film's quality. This sequel is a clear example of how established franchises can continue to succeed even when they fail to innovate. Cars 2, Pixar's original Cars, was a moderate success, but its sequel, Cars 2, was criticized for its departure from the heartfelt storytelling that the studio is known for. The sequel was viewed as a cash grab, focusing more on merchandising than narrative. Yet, Cars 2 grossed over $560 million, showing that even a poorly received sequel can benefit from brand recognition and an established fan base. The fate of the Furious. As the Fast and Furious franchise progressed, it began to rely heavily on outrageous stunts and over-the-top action sequences. The Fate of the Furious was criticized for its implausible plot and reliance on spectacle. Nevertheless, it became one of the highest grossing films of the franchise, earning over $1.2 billion worldwide. This sequel illustrates how a loyal fan base and a commitment to adrenaline-fueled entertainment can lead to box office success, regardless of narrative quality. In conclusion, the film industry is filled with sequels that, despite their lack of innovation and quality, manage to break box office records. These films often rely on established franchises, brand loyalty, and the thrill of familiarity to attract audiences. While critics may lament the existence of these sequels, their financial success underscores a crucial aspect of filmmaking. Sometimes the allure of nostalgia and spectacle can outweigh the need for a compelling story. As of October 2023, Donald Trump holds the record for the most viewed Wikipedia page, a reflection of both his controversial persona and significant impact on global politics. His Wikipedia entry garnered over 1.1 billion views, surpassing that of other high-profile figures, including celebrities and historical leaders. This extraordinary interest can be attributed to Trump's tumultuous presidency from 2017 to 2021, characterized by polarizing policies, impeachment trials, and a high-stakes election against Joe Biden. Trump's frequent media appearances, public statements, and social media presence kept him in the public eye, driving traffic to his Wikipedia page. Additionally, events such as COVID-19 pandemic, the Black Lives Matter movement, and the Capitol riots in January 2021 heightened the scrutiny surrounding his leadership, further fueling curiosity about his actions and decisions. The phenomenon of his Wikipedia traffic illustrates how modern politics intertwines with digital media, where information is rapidly consumed and shared. Trump's presidency ignited fierce debates about democracy, governance, and media influence, prompting people worldwide to seek information about his life, policies, and legacy. Thus, his Wikipedia page serves not only as a record of an individual, but as a lens into a transformative period in contemporary history. Trump always has to pump himself to the top of all obsessive interest, to the point where everybody is fighting him because they don't want tyranny or dictatorship. A lot of other interests can suffer under this level of obsessive madness. We need to try to stay diverse in our interests and not let him have the absolute power which he craves and wants to believe. quite falsely, that he can presume to deserve and automatically consider himself entitled. Why gold and stocks just fell? Markets took a sharp turn this week. Stocks dropped hard. Oil surged above $110. Gold fell more than 5%, now below $4,600, while silver slipped below 70. At first glance, that may seem concerning, but in reality, this may be the buying opportunity that investors have been waiting for. Here's what's really happening. Rising oil is pushing inflation higher, forcing central banks to keep rates elevated. That's strengthening the dollar and creating short-term pressure on gold while investors take profits after a massive run. What smart investors are watching? This isn't the end of the run, it's a shift in the setup. And importantly, many forecasts are still calling for gold to reach near 6,000 by the end of 2026. We're now looking at rising inflation from energy stocks, shocks, weakening markets, stocks breaking down, central banks stuck in higher for longer mode. That combination has a history of creating opportunity. Zoom out, not in. Short term pullbacks like this are often when long term positions are built. Gold and silver have historically been driven by the same forces we're seeing now: inflation, geopolitical tension, and financial stress. Don't mistake a dip for a reversal. For many investors, this may be one of the best opportunities to position before a potential move higher. Gold usually wins in this kind of environment. Gold tends to benefit from three broad conditions. First, it often attracts demand during geopolitical stress. When investors get nervous about military escalation, energy disruption, or broader financial instability, gold is commonly treated as a hedge against panic. Second, it is widely viewed as a shield against inflation. When consumer prices rise and paper currency purchasing power weakens, gold often draws interest as a hard asset with no credit risk attached to it. Third, gold tends to perform better when real interest rates fall or when investors expect central banks to cut rates. Because gold does not generate income, it generally looks more attractive when the return on cash and bonds declines after inflation. On paper, the current setup should check several of these boxes. The war around Iran has intensified, the Strait of Hormuz remains under severe stress, and Reuters reported on March 22nd that the waterway, which carries about 20% of global oil and liquefied natural gas shipments, has become a central flashpoint in the conflict. At the same time, the G7 said on March 21st that it is prepared to act to protect global energy supplies and support security in the Strait of Hormuz, underlining how serious the disruption risk has become. In other words, the geopolitical backdrop is real, the inflation threat is real, the energy shock is real. Andrew Johnson, the 17th President of the United States, is best known for overseeing the country during the tumultuous Reconstruction era following the Civil War. However, one of his significant achievements was the acquisition of Alaska, which he orchestrated through the purchase from Russia in 1867. This transaction, often referred to as Seward's Folly, named after his Secretary of State, William H. Seward, involved the U.S. acquiring approximately 586,000 square miles of territory for $7.2 million, or about 2 cents per acre. At the time, many critics viewed the purchase as a reckless expenditure for a barren wasteland. However, Johnson and Seward recognized Alaska's potential for natural resources, including gold, oil, and fur, which would later prove invaluable to the U.S. economy. The acquisition was formally ratified by the Senate on October 18, 1867, marking a significant expansion of U.S. territory and influence. The purchase of Alaska has since been seen as a pivotal moment in American history, laying the groundwork for future economic and strategic interests in the Pacific. Johnson's decision to proceed with the purchase, despite the criticism, demonstrated a forward-thinking vision that would benefit the nation for generations to come. NATO's intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance force at Sigonella Air Base is a vital hub for airborne and maritime operations. All data collected by the sensors of the RQ-4D are transmitted in real time. Antennas are used to transmit the link Sigonella, Sicily, using high radio frequencies up to the satellite in space, down to the aircraft, and then back, returning from the aircraft up to the satellite and down to Sigonella again to the antennas, and then distributed to the system. Meanwhile, analysts in the office next door are receiving in near real time two types of data. The first type are still images used for tagging an object and assessing the situation. The radar is like a beam. The beam hits the ground and the black areas says no return because it gets absorbed from those areas. So we don't get any information from this. The white areas, we get information back. So the beam hits the ground and reflects. Even if the images are precise, there are still limits. I think the most difficult ones is when we're looking into a harbor, because with radar, if something is moving, we can get some unclear images, and then it's getting more difficult for us to interpret what we are seeing. The second type of data is a scan of the area, which is able to detect objects and track movements on the ground. We're not seeing images, it's just seeing dots as a movement. Differing from reconnaissance missions, surveillance is a more prolonged and deliberate activity for building an intelligence picture and pattern of life, and make comparison with live and dynamic feeds. It's important for us to make an analysis and collecting of information to find out first what is normal, to say then later that's abnormal. And that's maybe a threat to us. Raw data is transformed into actionable intelligence products. Last week, Vice Admiral James Morley, Deputy Commander of NATO's Joint Force Command Norfolk, visited Exercise Cold Response 2026 in Norway, where he met with senior Allied leaders and service members deployed across the region. During his visit, he observed live capability demonstrations and NATO forces training side by side in harsh Arctic conditions, highlighting the alliance's ability to deploy, adapt, and defend anytime, anywhere. Our role is to defend every inch of NATO territory by training together in demanding environments. Allies demonstrate both capability and cohesion, which play a pivotal role in deterring potential aggression. Exercises like Cold Response, part of Arctic Sentry, reinforce interoperability, readiness, and the strength of Allied cooperation in the High North. Aerographene is widely regarded as the lightest material in the world, making it a groundbreaking innovation in the field of materials science. It's an ultra-lightweight, porous, carbon-based material that exhibits extraordinary properties, making it highly sought after for various applications. With a density of just 0.16 milligrams per cubic centimeter, aerographene is approximately 75 times lighter than air, surpassing the previous record holder, graphene aerogel. This incredible lightness is due to its unique structure, which consists of a network of interconnected carbon nanotubes arranged in a three-dimensional lattice-like form. The resulting material is not only incredibly lightweight, but it also possesses exceptional strength and resilience. Despite its feather-light weight, aerographene boasts impressive mechanical properties. It has an extremely high specific surface area, providing ample space for chemical reactions or adsorption processes. This property, combined with its excellent electrical conductivity, makes aerographene highly promising for energy storage and conversion technologies such as supercapacitors and batteries. Its high porosity also enables efficient filtration applications, making it an ideal candidate for air and water purification systems. Moreover, aerographene exhibits outstanding thermal insulation properties, making it an excellent material for thermal management in various industries. Its low thermal conductivity enables effective heat dissipation, which is crucial in applications where temperature control and efficiency are paramount. The potential applications of aerographene are vast and diverse. It has the potential to revolutionize aerospace design, where reducing weight is crucial for fuel efficiency and overall performance. In the automotive industry, aerographene could be utilized to manufacture lighter and more fuel-efficient vehicles. It also holds promise for advanced electronics, as it can be used to create thinner and lighter devices without compromising performance. The discovery of aerographene represents a significant step forward in materials science, opening up new possibilities for lightweight yet robust materials. As researchers continue to explore its properties and potential applications, aerographene holds the promise of transforming various industries and revolutionizing technology as we know it. Jason Colapietro, founder and CEO at Swelled Labs, building the future of music. Jeff Buckley should still be here. In his early 30s, he was signed to a major label and carrying the weight of a next Dylan narrative on his back. The same system that gave him a budget and a billboard also buried him in expectations, debt, and an inhuman pace of touring and promotion. When we romanticize the old music industry, we forget how brutal it was for artists like Buckley. Advances weren't gifts. They were loans recouped against everything, recordings, videos, tours, leaving many artists barely making a living. Even as their faces were in every magazine, labels decided who got shelf space, radio spins, and time to grow. And if your first record didn't explode on schedule, the machine moved on. Today, the landscape is broken in different ways, but it is different. A singular idiosyncratic voice can build a direct audience on their own terms via Bandcamp, Patreon, Substack, NFTs, live streams, and niche touring without needing $1 million advance to access listeners. Independent artists now routinely report streaming, memberships, and micro patronage as primary income streams, especially when they own their masters and data. Would Jeff Buckley be alive today if he'd been able to operate as a truly independent artist who could actually make a living? We can't know, but we can say this: a healthier system, one that doesn't grind sensitive, highly empathic people through debt, endless touring, and creative compromise just to recoup, gives more of our Jeff Buckleys a real chance at a sustainable life. As leaders, investors, and builders in music and tech, we have agency here. Design models where artists own their own catalog and data by default, instead of trading it for access. Build revenue stacks that combine streaming, community, live, and direct support so artists don't need to choose between survival and sanity. Treat sustainability as a success metric: stable income, reasonable touring cycles, mental health, creative freedom. Jeff Buckley's story is more than a romanticized myth. It's a case study in what happens when once-in-a-generation talent collides with a system that sees artists as assets before it sees them as humans. If you're building tools, platforms, or companies in music, build the world where the next Jeff Buckley doesn't have to choose between a major label lottery ticket and a life.